This is Joe Reichel singing his own theme song. It is time for Damage Control. Joe Reichel is in the studio, and he's going to tell you what to do if that pipe burst and you've had 350 gallons of water suddenly spraying underneath your wooden floor or something like that. The number here to call Joe is 622-9622. Of course, Joe Reichel is from Damage Control Services, and he'll tell you that phone number in the course of the show a couple times maybe. 622-9622 is the number right now to get on the air and speak to Joe. Good morning, Joe. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing good. Cold this morning.
Very cold.
Very cold.
And yesterday, in preparation for the cold, we were giving everybody the warnings, and one of the warnings said a tiny little hole in a pipe that breaks because of the cold could spray out, like in the course of a day, 350 gallons or something like that. It's an amazing amount of water.
Yeah, water quickly becomes a very big issue or a very big concern this time of the year with freezing weather. I was watching a special on Facebook. It was a Facebook message, and the lady threw water up in the air. This was up in Minnesota, I believe. She threw hot water into the air, and it froze before it ever hit the ground. Fortunately, we don't have to worry about that, even though it feels that way here. We don't have to worry about it that much. But with the freezing temperatures like we had last night, where the temperature dips below freezing, you want to make sure that you if you have a well, cover it up. Throw a blanket over it.
Right.
Just things that you can do to weatherproof your house. We've had several calls, not any recently, fortunately, as far as people that have had frozen pipes, even pipes in the attic that aren't insulated. The attic gets really cold.
Yeah, really. You might forget about those.
You don't even know about it, but the attic will get really cold, and if your pipes that are any water lines that are in the attic are not insulated, they can freeze. And one was a refrigerator line that was in the attic, and it froze and started shooting water.
Oh.
And quickly the saturated the insulation, then the drywall fell.
Oh, no.
And the water's just continuing to flow. The people weren't home.
Oh, even worse.
It was all over the cabinets. The water just was spraying. Just a pinhole leak that, from a water line that froze. So
and that was kind of the message of that little article yesterday,
right.
that little tiny spritz that doesn't seem like much after a while builds up to everything, right? Josh and Brad outside the studio. Oh, what are you doing? You're just going to sit there? Let me get, where's the
I thought I was going to get flashed there for a second.
That's what I thought. I thought they were going to do that.
Oh, here we go.
I
think that's a first for me. And I don't know that I enjoyed it.
No, you shouldn't have enjoyed it. No. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The fun of live radio in an almost empty mall right now.
In an almost empty. It is empty mall. It's very cold today.
Maybe that's why, right?
I'm sure. I know I didn't want to get out of bed this morning.
People don't want to go shopping.
No. And the mall has been very busy the last several weeks putting the show on this time of the day. So not too many people today. There's a Seminole fan right there. He was in the parking lot. Go Noles.
There he goes. I think he just did the tomahawk chop for you. So.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I saw him in the parking lot sitting there. He had a Seminole flag.
Well, that's flying, how you know. So I was trying to figure out how you knew that. I didn't see anything on his clothing.
Yeah, I parked next to him.
Oh, okay. You show up everywhere. I see you on Facebook. It's like you're the guest star on everybody else's show. That's
all right. And speaking of other shows, today at 4:30, Angie Lewis has asked me to come on the air with her. Right here in the studio, we'll be talking about weather-related insurance claims.
Can we touch on that a little bit right now?
We can.
So if ice has caused damage, considering that we live in Florida, does that need to be specifically mentioned in your policy, or is that an Angie question?
That's a great Angie question, and I think a lot of it depends where this happened, as far as what is actually covered. So
can you imagine
if it's a say for example, a lot of times, this time of the year, it's ice could cause problems in like your sprinkler system, for example.
Right.
That's not an insurance covered claim. typically.
But if the sprinkler system burst close to the house,
the
water somehow got in.
And we have had insurance claims. We did one not too long ago. There was a sprinkler head that was next to a house. The sprinkler head busted, and every time it would turn on, it was shooting water straight up into the soffit. The exterior soffit of the house. Water was coming in the wall and down in and caused a lot of damage to the wood floor and the walls and every, even contents inside that area. So every time the sprinkler system came on, it was just shooting water straight into the house. And so that was an insurance related claim. So caused by your sprinkler system. But, there again, it's always important to know what your policy covers and, make sure that you are covered the best that you can be with your insurance. And, I mean, we've talked with Linda, USI, Linda Gygax, and, we've talked to her about it. I think Diana Holder's called in, and we talked about the same thing, and Angie and I have talked about it a lot. So no matter who your insurance agent is, it's very important to set up a meeting with them. Make sure that you are covered correctly. All of your assets are covered in case of disaster.
By the way, Scott Fry writes to you, you should talk about how the cold weather keeps you from having to ice your beer down.
I hope Scott's listening.
It's naturally cold beer.
And I did see a a picture. I think it was on Facebook as well. It was
oh, really?
It was an ice. Ice was hanging over the overhang of a house, and people were sticking their beer bottles into that to keep them cold. So the only problem with that is, when that happens, then you've got to go outside to get it. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Scott likes to make fun of all the people that are living up north all the time on his Facebook posts.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, he always reminds everybody about how warm it is here in Florida, except today.
Today and tonight and tomorrow, maybe, right?
But Scott's a funny guy, though.
So the phone number is 622-9622 if you'd like to ask Joe a question. The one area to me that I don't want of technology is that line to the refrigerator for the automatic ice maker. It sounds like that's a problem a lot, so I don't even want it. Unless technology changes one day, you can leave me. I don't need, it's not that hard to fill up an ice tray.
It is, that is one thing that we do find causes a lot of leaks.
And it sounds like because it's such a small line, I'm just guessing, maybe that's why it freezes so quickly.
Well, and typically if it's in the walls, that's an insulated area, but if it goes up into the attic, which a lot of times they'll do that in order to run a line, and a lot of times those will cause a problem and will freeze. So just like anything, you need to make sure that your house is in good condition, or in case of these type of things. And we don't have to typically worry a lot about it here, but thinking about it, we do have a lot of snowbirds that come down here in the wintertime, and their homes, they've had to winterize their homes or make sure that they're going to be okay. And the same thing here. A lot of times if people are gone, maybe they're on vacation, and the home is and it's cold. So
there was a story this morning about 2 fires that Marion County Fire Rescue responded to yesterday. And then at the end of the news release from them, they are asking us in the media to remind the listeners that they actually have a program called Get Alarmed, in which they give away smoke alarms, and they're called dual mode smoke alarms. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing that's smoke and carbon monoxide?
I'm not real sure. Probably.
But they give them away
possible.
Just for you. If you don't know, it's free.
And this time of the year, there are lots and lots of fires. I mean, we've noticed quite a few more of them recently in the news, like you said, and for a variety of reasons. People are using their heat more this time of the year.
Right.
A lot of times your your heating elements, because they've been sitting most of the year, they have a lot of dust build up on them, and that, is a fire hazard. Something that, space heaters, that's another thing that causes a lot of fires.
Right.
Or, people have their, a lot of times they're making fires in a fireplace that they haven't used any other time of the year, and something might be stuck in the chimney. Birds make nests in there all the time, or squirrels or things, so you need to be, make sure that these parts of your home are safe. Maybe not use, or definitely don't ever use an extension cord with a, space heater. Make sure that there's plenty of room around it. Make sure that the cord fits tight in the wall.
I never heard that. No extension cords with space heaters, huh?
Well, it's not that you
dangerous,
can't,
huh?
but yeah, that increases the danger of it.
Really?
Or, if you're going to use an extension cord, make sure it's rated, with the proper voltage that you can, is okay to use it. But a space heater pulls a lot of volt.
Yeah.
A lot of amperage. So, I'm not really an electrician. I don't really know all the key things with that, but that's increased power usage, and anytime you're doing that, you have the increased risk, and that's why especially this time of the year, check your panel box. Always put your hand on the breakers, open up the door, that silver box in the wall, and just set your hand on there. Feel the temperature of those. If any of them are hot, that means it is being worked more than it should be. If that's the case, you want to call an electrician, get them out there to
Right.
Check it and make sure everything's okay.
Have you ever had a call from somebody who needed some repairs? Oh, and I have a request from somebody else too, so I got two thoughts going on right now. So the first one, they need repairs because an animal has taken shelter in their attic and caused damage, maybe a squirrel or something.
Yes.
And what kind of damage do they cause?
Well, a squirrel, when they get in the attic, a squirrel will chew your electrical wires.
Oh, that's not good.
It'll chew the rubber coating, the plastic coating on the outside of the electrical wires, causing bare wires, and when that happens, increased risk of fire. So that's one of the major things. Raccoons, possums, squirrels, rats, mice, any type of mammal like this will get in your attic. They can get in your attic, and they can cause damage. Two things. It makes me think of the Mayhem commercial where, Mayhem, the Allstate commercial, he's pretending to be a raccoon in the attic.
Right.
And he's just chewing on things.
I don't know that one.
You'll
Oh,
need to
really?
watch, yeah, YouTube Mayhem and the raccoon. It's a very funny commercial. All Mayhem. I like Mayhem. I was talking about Mayhem last night.
And what is Mayhem? It's a company?
You don't know Mayhem?
What is it?
Oh, Larry.
I'll look it up right now.
Mayhem is the commercial.
Mayhem, right?
Yeah, Mayhem. That's the commercials that Allstate does.
All right. So it's not a product. It's just what they're calling him, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the guy.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen these
Mayhem.
commercials. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I was gonna say everybody knows Mayhem.
Yeah, but I didn't know if that's what it was called. It's the guy who was like the devil or something, right?
Well, he's not the devil. He's
He looks like the devil.
he's all kinds of certain things. He can be Josh. He can be
Josh.
a squirrel. Yeah, he just walked by. He could be a squirrel. Josh is back.
I heard his name.
He can be a squirrel. He can be a tree limb. He's been a satellite receiver and fell off a house onto a car.
All right, I'm looking at.
Yeah, all kinds
I'm
of
looking at the
commercials. But
stills
anyway,
from there.
all types of these, bad things can happen, and that's where you need to be prepared for them.
The
I don't know
other.
where I was going with that, but
Yeah, I know, we were
things in the attic, animals,
Things in the
animals.
attic.
Yeah, we've had. I've had to call Rick Kendrick with Ultimate Pest Control. He's gone to one job not too recently, a commercial property here in town, and they had some soffit fall down, and the ladies from the office called me saying, Joe, help, what do we do? We've got this problem. And Rick went out there, set some traps. I never heard how that turned out. I need to call and find out. But he was going to get the animal out of there, and then our job is to go back and fix the soffit, put back whatever needs done in order to keep the animals and rodents out of there.
Yeah,
So.
right.
But yeah, anytime, your attic is not designed to house anything other than your air conditioning ducts, your electrical wires, plumbing maybe, and some vents for your plumbing, and insulation. That's pretty much the only thing that's, you can store some things up there, but other than that, it's not good for animals to be up there.
Not to mention just the noises that come from
the noises that they can make. Yeah, that can be quite disturbing. Hearing things running around when it shouldn't be.
The other thought that I wanted to make sure I passed along to you is from Doug. You know Doug.
Okay.
My friend Doug. Doug lives in a mobile home. And he said he's got a part of the roof that leaks. And he wanted me to ask you about it. So
okay.
That's it. That's his circumstance. What does he do? What should he do?
Well, it really depends where it's leaking. But with mobile homes and a roof leak, you need to get a roofer out there that specializes in mobile homes first and foremost to get the area fixed. Anytime there's a roof leak or something like some sort of water intrusion, the very first thing you want to do is get what's causing the damage repaired or stopped. So, if this is something every time it rains, need to get a tarp put up there temporarily.
Temporarily.
In order to stop it from happening. If it's an area where you don't, you kind of know where it's happening, but not exactly what's causing it. You could go up there and do a water test to do a visual inspection, and then maybe do a water test to try to find out where it is coming in and get it repaired. Roof maintenance is something that's very important, whether it's a mobile home or any type of a home. Your roof is one of the things that's probably overlooked the most because you're not up there looking at it.
Right.
And, really should have that inspected pretty often. I've got to go, speaking of roofs, I've got to go on Thursday morning to do an inspection of a roof. A lady called and she had some, I think this was a hail damage. She thinks she might have some problem with that. I'm trying to think back, but basically just to do a roof inspection, make sure it's okay, what the condition of a roof looks like. So I'll get up there, I'll walk it over, take pictures of everything, and then, talk with her about it. It's not something that we do a lot, but, she called her insurance agent about it, and, the insurance agent recommended that she call us to go out there, and, she called me and I'm going to go out there and take a look at it.
And it looks like you have a phone call. By the way, everybody's invited to call Joe if you want. The number is 622-9622. That is the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline. Joe Reichel, of course, from Damage Control Services. Good morning. You're on the air with Joe.
Good morning. This is Linda.
Good morning, Linda.
Hey, how are you?
Wonderful. How are you doing today?
I hope you don't have many calls for bursted pipes from freezing.
Nope, we haven't had any yet that I know of. How about you?
I had one lady call me that told me she left her her faucet dripping all night on her outbuildings because she has water on her outbuildings and she was afraid. And in most policies that would be covered. The only time I think it might not is if you have like a DP1 or an HO8 where they exclude water damage. But
right.
You might want to take a review and look at that. But that's like sudden and accidental bursting of a pipe, or appliance. But yeah, that's a bad thing to happen. I think right before we moved here, I don't know, they had a real deep freeze, and they had a lot of bursted pipes and busted pipes, especially on the mobile homes.
Yes, we've had a few calls for that, but I mean, like I said, none today. And people typically people in their homes sometimes they think they need to turn the water on, let it drip, and inside your home, it's likely not to have a problem. If you're keeping the temperature above freezing inside your home. But outbuildings, like you said, is a different thing.
I lived in a house once and I rented. This was when I was a young adult. And the landlord called me and said, hey, run the pipes, run the water, let it trickle. And the next morning in the basement, it was like waterfalls. All
Oh,
the pipes
wow.
had bursted. And you went down, the water was just pouring out of the broken pipes. And it's amazing that it can get that cold to break pipes inside the house, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, well, this was up north, but still,
Right.
you know, and I couldn't have been that cold down there. You know, it had to have been it must have just got a little below freezing, you know, for long enough to freeze that water in those pipes and bursted. But I never went down in my basement with a coat on.
Right.
So that night it must have got cold enough to do it. So yeah, I guess people, I guess there's some kind of wrapping stuff you can buy to go under your house if you have a manufactured home and your pipes are exposed, and you can wrap them.
Yes, there is insulation that can be put on those, and that's something that's very important to be done. And a lot of times, that insulation sometimes needs to be inspected every so often too. So if you do have your pipes insulated, it's very good to have those inspected every once in a while. Check them out, especially if they are under a home in a crawl space area type of situation, like a mobile home, or if you do have a crawl space even under your home.
Yeah,
it would be in
Frames home built in a historic district,
right.
Yeah. Well, I just thought I was listening, but I wasn't able to call, so I thought when you guys were talking about it, so I thought, I better give them a call now.
I'm glad you did.
Well, you have a great day.
Thank you, Linda. Thanks for calling.
Right. Sure. Bye now.
Bye now.
Real quickly, my son one time volunteered with Habitat for Humanity. He was with Brad for the one of the homes. And the particular design of that home had a very steep roof. And so the volunteers couldn't do the roof because usually it's a different steep.
Different pitch.
Yeah, pitch. Thank you.
A slower pitch.
So do you guys stay away from that as well, or no? I mean, it sounded like if you've got that steep roof, that high, whatever you call it, high pitch or a steep pitch.
A steep pitch, yeah.
Then you need special knowledge or something. You have to have a specialist to do that. He said it was a design. Brad said it was a design that was meant for up north, and somehow it got.
Well, a lot of times they will. Because of up north, you get more snowfall, and snow is surprisingly heavy and heavier than people realize. So snow will build up on lower pitch roofs, and especially if you get an accumulation of snow, and a lot of times it'll warm up and you'll get rain, and then you end up with ice, and you'll have ice build up on your roof, and that it gets increasingly heavy, and once that happens, you do have a chance of collapse of the roof. So a lot of times the newer buildings, they'll build them with they can carry the load. They're rated to carry a heavier, a certain load, and that is for the snow load basically. One of those things that they do steeper pitches up north, but I mean we do lots of them here too. So
I guess it's just a design you either want it or you don't.
Right, depends on the look that you want.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, and you've got another call. Good morning. You're on the air with Joe.
Hey, good morning. You brought up a topic that maybe I could reflect on. I do run the water inside my house because I have a lot of exposed pipes on the outside. I'm on a well. I've got a saltwater water softener and a whole house filter, so I've got a lot of exposed pipes, and I want to keep water running through them pipes out there, and I'm not worried about anything freezing up inside the house and everything.
Right.
When it's real cold, and I don't think last night really was, but that would be the only reason to run one inside the house, would be to keep water flowing, let the pump run once in a while, and so
yes,
nothing out there that's exposed gets frozen.
Yeah, definitely. And and I'm sure you probably cover those things as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So a big blanket over and put a 100-watt bulb in there.
Yeah. And not necessarily, I mean, it depends on the condition. You might not need to put a light bulb in there or something like that, but definitely want to make sure you cover them and, make sure that, those exposed pipes, or in a situation where you do have, like you were saying, the water softener outside and, the well, it is a good idea to keep water dripping, a slow drip.
Keep it flowing through them pipes out there.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Sure.
All right, thank you. All right, well, that was quick.
Which part?
The whole thing.
Fastest half hour
quick.
of my day.
Yeah.
Or my week.
We didn't start late, did we? No. I
don't think so.
I don't think so. Well, you have another day to have to worry about the cold. Hopefully you won't get any calls, but if somebody gets damaged, I guess you're the guy to call.
And like I said, we'll be back on the air at 4:30 with Angie this afternoon.
So the insurance directly, insurance-related questions.
Yep.
All right. Well, that would be good to have both of you, because then you can ask, how do you do this and how do you pay for this?
We can tag team them.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
We will be right back.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala.